So, I was rejected from film school. And that really sucked. I tried so hard. All of my high school years and CEGEP, because in Montreal we have this thing called CEGEP, doesn't really matter. I tried really hard. I got all the grades I needed. I did all the extracurriculars. I lined up a portfolio. I had community service hours. And in the end, it all amounted to nothing. And that really sucked. I got rejected from three of the film schools that I applied to, and I ended up going to business school. I'm currently enrolled at McGill. And while it does suck, again, that I got rejected from film school, I think that it was a bit of a blessing in its own right. So people that know me, they know that I'm tend to generally be a really positive guy. So I was looking for the ways in which I could spin it around and see it as positive that I got rejected from film school. And that's what I did. I had to find different ways to teach myself all these things that I would have learned in film school. I know a lot of renowned filmmakers say that it isn't a necessity to go to film school to get that education, but it's still a really cool thing for film people to have and film people to learn and be in that environment. Being rejected from film school taught me to be more autonomous and independent about how I was going to learn how to do these things. So, without further ado, I'm just going to explain the things that I do personally to teach myself and build my knowledge around film and filmmaking. Number one is read books. Yes, I know this may seem a bit obvious, but if you were going to film school, you would get assigned books to read. So I buy film books, and I'm usually buying film books around, let's say, film history, film theory, film criticism. There's tons of different film book genres, so you're just gonna have to see what interests you most. But I would try to stick your foot in every little lane so you learn different aspects of film, and that will teach you a lot of different things. Some books that I can recommend are this one right here, Film Theory and Criticism. Sorry for the little tissue over there. But yeah, this one is basically a film textbook. You got everything in here. That's a lot of words per page. Essentially, this will teach you different frameworks and lenses to view film, and it'll teach you different ways to read a film other than just, okay, that was entertaining, that was fun to watch, the action was good. And when you're in film school, you're going to be learning about film criticism and how to view films through different lenses and apply that and analyze that so you get way more out of the film. And that's a really great thing. Another book I absolutely adored was Story by Robert McKee. Yep, right there, Story by Robert McKee. This one's great. This fills you up with the general knowledge of script structure, and he includes a lot of examples from many different movies. And this will just enlighten your mind as an introduction to how to write a script. There are other books that I have, but I felt that I enjoyed this one the most. There are so many different books and different facets you can get into those books. There's screenwriting, directing, acting, pretty much anything you can imagine. There's a book on it, and you should seek those out. So the second big thing that I want to talk about when it comes to teaching yourself about film and filmmaking is, surprisingly, YouTube. Obviously, when it comes to filmmaking, there's the big ones like Indie Mogul and Film Riot that people have known for many years. But I'm talking about the film channels that are more about film analysis and criticism, because hearing how other people analyze films and dissect films can teach you a lot about what to look for when you're watching films. There's also a great little community on YouTube. I especially like creators like Patrick Willems. Quality of content is out of this world. I like Karsten Runquist. I like Let Me Explain. They form a nice little community of film buffs on Twitter. You also have film analysis Twitter, like Lessons from the Screenplay, Behind the Curtain. Cinema Tyler does great stuff on film history and behind the scenes. You kind of have a film channel for every facet, again, in film. I will put a big list down in the description of a bunch of channels that I like and that I personally follow. Number 3 on the list is to sign up for online courses. And recently with coronavirus, a lot of courses ended up being free. So right now I'm enrolled in a short film writing online course that's taught by an NYU professor. You can find a lot of those different classes. Just look on websites like nofilmschool.com or any other film blog that will probably post about those things. Number 4 on the list. This one is a bit closer to my experience with film. As I'm going to a business school right now, I am learning absolutely nothing about film and filmmaking in those classes. But what I usually do is I'll find ways to spin it. I could not tell you how many papers I've written about the film industry and Disney's crazy control over the box office. I've done it for, I think, every class. Just take the class that you're in, take the topic you're in, and try to flip it in a way that you could talk about things within the film industry. You might not be explicitly learning about film, but I think there is an advantage to understanding the industry and how it works. So I've written about the independent film industry, I've written about Disney a tons, I've written about Netflix a tons too, because the business of film is still important to understand if you're going to want to have a career in that field. Find those ways to twist things to teach yourself something new about something that you love. The second thing that you could do in your current school right now is use your electives to your advantage. Here, obviously, you're going to want to find an elective that has to do with film. And that's what I'm doing the upcoming semester, and I'm super excited to see what it's going to be about. So yeah, even if you didn't get into film school, I'm sure there are some classes that teach film studies and film history that you can sneak your way into. So number 5 on the list is investing in yourself. Investing in yourself doesn't mean just buying everything if you can afford it. It means buying things that you know are going to teach you something along the way. When you go to film school, there's a massive rental department usually, and students can walk in and out and easily rent anything that has to do with film gear and equipment. And when they're using that film gear and equipment, they end up learning a lot and how to use it properly. So when I'm going out and I'm working for something, I'm gonna save that money and eventually use it to invest right back into myself to, let's say, work on client jobs or my personal projects. Buy things that challenge you. And what I mean by that is that every item that you get, find a way to use it from front to back and learn it thoroughly. What I'm getting at here is don't be afraid to buy the tools that are going to help you, because eventually, 1, you'll learn from them, and 2, they will just contribute to your personal projects. So if you can afford to do so, I would heavily push yourself to invest right back into you. And it is a tough thing because film equipment is expensive, but I promise you, you're going to learn lots of things on the way. The next on the list is an obvious one. Watch movies. Watch a lot of movies. This is so important. And once you're going to get out of your bubble of watching movies in your comfort zone is when you're really going to learn a lot about film. You're going to be diving into different genres of film, different countries, because there is so much cinema out there. Like Bong Joon-ho said at the Oscars, or I think it was the Golden Globes, whatever, it doesn't matter. He said that subtitles are just a 1-inch small barrier, and as soon as you can get over that leap, you can discover tons and tons of beautiful cinema. And I couldn't agree more. Try to schedule, if you can. This is something that I've done. I'll go on this spree of months that I'm just watching a movie every single day, and it's really fun. It's the most fun time, and I could be like getting into my bed at 12 o'clock and still turning on a movie and going to sleep at 2 a.m. Think of it as like educational purposes, so it's okay if you miss a little bit of sleep because you're fulfilling your mind. Don't be afraid of going to watch movies alone. I mean, for a long time, nobody wanted to go see certain movies with me out of all my friends. They were just more interested in going to see the next Avengers or the next Star Wars movie. I don't know. But if you want to go see a movie, don't be scared of going to see it alone. Honestly, I've had better time watching movies alone in the theater than with friends. It's just you, the screen, and you're just thinking about what you're watching, and you don't have anyone chattering off to your side. You might look lonely, but that's okay. Soon enough, you'll get over the social embarrassment of going to the movies alone. The next thing you can do is learning by doing. This is something that's easier said than done. Everybody gets into roadblocks when they say they want to go out and create all the time because it's very easy to procrastinate. But Learning by doing is so important because I have run into so many problems that I've learned how to figure out through filmmaking, and finding solutions to those has really helped me become a better filmmaker at the same time. I mean, just this YouTube channel is part of this learning by doing way. If I'm constantly putting in more hours learning, I'm gonna become way, way better. It's like that 10,000 hour rule. It's so, so important. Please get out there and get to work if you can, even if that means spending 10 minutes a night writing a new script or a new idea. Every time that you put in is going to make you just a little bit better. And over a year of doing that, you'll be a lot better. So now we're on the final aspect of the video, and that is trying to find a community. I think one of the best aspects of film school would be the actual people that you meet and the people that you're in class with. You're building a network of like-minded individuals, and you're being placed in an environment that promotes you to go after your art. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for me, and maybe that didn't happen for you. So what I would suggest is finding a community. Find like-minded individuals, and this is much easier now because of Facebook and Instagram, whether it be joining groups or looking at different creatives in your area through Instagram. There are ways that you can connect, and you'll see that when you connect with these like-minded people, it's right off the bat super easy to communicate and work together sometimes. Another thing I would suggest that's online is Letterboxd, but you'll meet other people there on Letterboxd, and it's also just a great place to always jot down little thoughts about movies, because it always keeps your brain rolling, and you could see what your friends said about movies, and you could discuss with them, comment with them. And on there is a great place to find a film community, because it's literally a social media for film. And that is so sick. But yeah, so I think that's everything. And again, if you just got rejected from film school and you're watching this, all I gotta say is now it's on you. You have to get to work, and you have to try to learn all those things. But I can tell you that it will be so fulfilling. And for people that are like me and that had to go to a different university where you're learning nothing, the best thing I can tell you is do not put your dreams on the back burner. Keep trying to learn, keep trying to create, because all that stuff is only going to get harder once you're outside of school. Stick time to your dreams, stick time to creating, stick time to writing, reading, and learning, because it will be so fulfilling. And more than that, because you're not in the environment that you originally wanted to be in, you going out and doing it yourself is going to make you feel more independent, more autonomous. And in the end, that will make you more self-fulfilled and a happier person. So yeah, it's on you now. Get to it. All right, well, that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down there. It really helps me out. And I will see you guys next week.